What did I just do? Have I done anything? I haven't done anything. Cool, great, can't wait, so excited. So today I'm kind of just gonna do a get ready with me type of thing, and I'm going to be talking about maybe some different topics. I don't know if it'll be one or multiple, but we'll see throughout that I just want to talk about. So yeah, I think that was just like a mess. It's not like a real deal or anything. I'm not a beauty guru. But, and a lot of it's really old from when I first came here in 2018. No, I came here in 2017. I barely used it. I use it only when I'm at trainings from time to time, but not even, yeah. I did my full face and makeup once just for fun at my house and took it off. Here's what I'm looking for. NYX Photo Loving Primer. Oh, this makes your skin feel so smooth. It's like insane. And I basically just use this little mirror from like a highlighter. Because I don't really need a mirror. Oh, I need to wet this. This is so old. Bear me. Anyway, I'm gonna use foundation. I have two foundations. They're both True Match. One's Lumi, L'Oreal True Match. The Lumi one is W4 and the True Match regular is W3, but I don't know my shade and I don't really care that much. So one of the first topics that I wanted to talk about is the concept of being Hispanic or Latinx or Spanish, and how that has like evolved throughout my life and how education has kind of changed my perception of it. So I don't necessarily remember very clearly when I was a kid what I identified as, but I'm pretty sure that I said I was Spanish. I guess I didn't realize Hispanic was a thing. Oh my god. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that I identified as being Spanish for like for most of my childhood. But without noticing or without a really deliberate like shift, I just realized one day, oh, Spanish is like from Spain. And I'm not from Spain. I speak Spanish and I'm Hispanic. This past year, I guess on like social media and stuff, I've seen videos of Hispanic or Latinx people coming out talking on the topic, and I understood why people didn't want to be called Spanish because we're not Spanish, and particularly in light of like the Spanish conquest of South America and how it was pretty violent and deadly and oppressive. I understand not wanting to be called Spanish when you're oppressed by Spanish people or your ancestors were. So I empathize with that for sure. And then I guess the idea came up that Hispanic is also kind of the same concept. It's you are from a Spanish-speaking place, which although might be true, it's still perpetuating that idea of, oh, I'm gonna turn this off because I think the lighting's gonna be really weird. I forgot to turn my space heater off, there we go. But I guess Hispanic is still perpetuating kind of the same idea that we're descendants of this language or people, and I guess a lot of Latino people do not want to be identified with that. That's the sentiment that I encountered online, and it was kind of confusing for me. Especially as a kid, I was saying it the wrong way the whole time, I'm pretty sure. Because I wasn't educated, and learning about the oppression of multiple groups of people throughout my life and getting educated on that type of history made me proud to be Hispanic, and it made me realize that I'm not Spanish and I don't want to be Spanish. And I mean, nothing against Spanish people, but I'm just not Spanish. And I realized by saying that I was Spanish, I was invalidating my actual background. You know, like I was kind of saying something that I wasn't. It was like an identity crisis. And then the whole Latino has always been like a thing in my life. Latino and Latina is like, but I only use those words in Spanish. And I don't know if I was missing something, but I never heard anyone really say it in English until recently. But I think it's an accurate representation of what I am. But I also think Hispanic is an accurate representation because Hispanic just means that you speak Spanish, and I do. And although I get that it's more related to a country that was a colonizer, it's still the truth, and that's our history, and I'm really proud to speak Spanish, and I think being Hispanic is something to be really proud of. And I think now the word Hispanic encompasses way more than Spain. It's like if there was a word for English-speaking people, and we identified with it, it would be like validating England and what they did here. And I guess English is a representation. It's a symbol of colonization, just as Spanish is, but it's still the reality of now, and I don't want to let go of my reality now because I'm really proud of that. So, although yes, it would have been nice if Spain didn't colonize so much of America and oppress so many people, it's a part of my identity now. Not being oppressed by Spain directly, but speaking Spanish and having influence from Spain is a part of South America as a whole, is part of a lot of Latin American countries, and it's just part of us. I feel like I want to reclaim Spanish as mine, as ours, as all Latino people's language and part of our culture. I don't want it to always be a constant reminder that those awful things happened in the past. I think it's neglecting a huge part of our identity and our culture to not embrace our language. And also a really amazing thing about Spanish is that so many people from so many different countries speak it, and we're all connected in a way that we wouldn't have been without Spanish. And although, like I said, I'm never justifying at all any of the awful things that happened for that result, but the current reality and our present lives, like me, my mom, my grandmother, everyone who I've met in my family has only lived in that world, you know? Like their world is, I grew up speaking Spanish, it's my mother tongue. That's a part of me. And history is not erased by that. It's just the basis of what the reality is now. I guess people would say like I'm Latina, but it wasn't it might have been an issue in society, but it wasn't at the forefront of my experience as a Latina. I wasn't thinking, am I Latina, am I Hispanic? Maybe it's because I was a kid, maybe it's because Latinx people didn't have a platform or a voice when I was a kid in the way that they do now. There weren't videos of people, there weren't even Latinx people on television, let alone being super visible in other realms, you know, so I wasn't really hearing about these kinds of things. Yeah, basically, I just think you should identify with whatever makes you comfortable. You should also not identify with something that's misleading. And I was doing that out of a lack of education, and I was a kid. When I was saying I was Spanish, I thought that was the right thing, but it's not. And I'm going to use some Glossier too. Medium. I was wrong when I was a kid, and I didn't know what I was talking about, so, I mean, I give myself a pass. If you don't, that's fine. I don't really care. Now, I usually just call myself Hispanic. I don't usually use the Latina because I don't really know. I think it's just my separation of language, kind of like I don't use that word because it's a Spanish word, and I don't know. And I do identify as Hispanic. I'm proud to speak Spanish. Not that not speaking Spanish invalidates being a Hispanic, because there are a lot of Hispanic people. of Hispanic descent who do not speak Spanish. But I'm proud of that part of my culture, whether I speak it or not. And I don't feel the need to distinguish. But I understand the people who feel the need to distinguish between Hispanic and Latino, or Latina. I get that. Anyone's allowed to reclaim their identity in whatever way they want, as long as they're not offending anyone and they're not misleading anyone, in my opinion. I think it's wrong to lie about who you are or where you're from, but if you want to call yourself by another name, go for it, as long as you're not oppressing anyone else or hurting anyone else or lying. So I put concealer on, I'm sorry. Powder brush and Fit Me 220 Natural Age. That kind of takes me into the next topic I want to talk about. I saw someone post on Facebook a couple months ago, I guess. I don't know. Time doesn't make any sense to me anymore. But at some point in the past year, someone posted on Facebook some type of video about whether, I can't remember exactly, so don't quote me, but it was like one of those videos where they interview people on YouTube for like a short video and ask everyone the same question, right? And it was kind of about, it was revolving a little bit around being Latino, Latina, or Hispanic, but also about speaking Spanish, and if you don't speak Spanish, are you like a real Latina or Latino kind of thing. And I respect everyone's opinion. Do I? I mean, I agree to disagree with people. I don't think people need to believe the same things that I do. That's fine if they don't. But what's next? Bronzer or something? Contour. This is the Lorac. No, I hate when people say it weird. It's Lorac. It better be if they Lorac. And the video, I watched it because I was like, duh, you're Hispanic if you don't speak Spanish, or you're Latino if you don't speak Latino. Or you're Latinx if you don't speak Spanish. Like, what the heck? That's like saying if you're American but you don't speak English, you're not American. It's like, I feel like it's hypocritical. My grandmother's American, she doesn't speak perfect English. That doesn't make her not American. She's American. You can't defend people's right to be in America without speaking the language, but then say you need to speak Spanish to be a real Latinx person. Doesn't make any sense. So that frustrated me, and I think also that comes with so many different nuances. I know Jane the Virgin, what's her name? Gina that's Villanova's her last name in the show. Gina Rodriguez, maybe? She's Jane the Virgin. Google it. Obsessed with her show, Jane the Virgin, and she's pretty amazing, and she's an awesome advocate for Latinas and Latino men. Latinos, I guess. It's weird to say Latinas and Latinos because in Spanish you just say Latinos and it talks about everyone. But I don't think she speaks Spanish. I think she might understand Spanish or has obviously some experience with Spanish. She has Spanish speaking family. I was going to say Spanish family. She did an interview where someone asked her, do people question your Latina identity because you don't speak Spanish? And she said, yeah, because obviously people do that. I don't get it, but people do that. And it's frustrating because we, especially as first generation Americans, we grow up with this pressure from both sides. We, at home, we're living in a culture different from all of our friends. Maybe not all of them, it depends where you grow up, right? But for me, I grew up in a household that ran completely differently from all of my friends' homes. I feel a pressure you feel a pressure to fit in. And she cited her parents' reason for not teaching her Spanish, and it was because they didn't want her to be judged for speaking Spanish or to have an accent when she spoke English. And those are real issues that people, like, they don't, it's sad, but when you're raising your kids in a culture that doesn't necessarily always tolerate, you shouldn't tolerate, you should accept, but they don't even tolerate diversity. It's difficult to want to instill that in your children when you want them to just, like, you want them to be accepted in this culture, you know? And I'm not saying everyone in the United States is judging every Hispanic person or Latina person who has an accent or whatever. But on the whole, I mean, like, there are disparities between being a Latina woman and being a white woman in how successful you are in socioeconomic class and wealth in a lot of different categories. And for someone's parents to sacrifice teaching their own children their language, that's a really brave thing to do, in my opinion, because I'm sure they would have loved to teach her Spanish and to immerse her in her culture, in their culture. But they wanted her to fit in, and they wanted her to have an easier life, and I don't know. If you don't have empathy for that, that's not cool. And also, whether your parents didn't have a reason, or maybe they just didn't teach you Spanish, you're still Hispanic and you're still Latina or Latino. I just don't get it. I think people should learn as many languages as they can, whether you're not from that place that speaks that language or whether you are. And so when Hispanic people don't speak Spanish, I think, oh, you should just learn Spanish, or you should learn Spanish. That would be amazing. You could talk to people from your culture. I think it's amazing for so many reasons. I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn Spanish. I learned Spanish as a first language, and it's been one of the greatest gifts in my life. And just because you don't speak a language doesn't mean you're not from somewhere. Or it doesn't mean it's not part of your culture, your identity, or your DNA. Oh, I put contour on it. Now I'm gonna do this really old bronzer that I have. So I mentioned that I speak Spanish and I identify as not Spanish, as Hispanic or Latina. And I'm super proud of being those things. I don't know exactly where I'm from. I haven't done a DNA test, which I really want to do. But I do know a little bit about my history through my parents and stuff like that. So my mom is born in Peru. She lived there till she was 18. Dad is Puerto Rican. And he's born in Puerto Rico. He came to the US in his 20s or something, or teens, I don't remember. My family in Puerto Rico is white, and my family in Peru, my grandma's side is black, and my grandpa's side is white. Yeah. I hope that doesn't offend anyone, because of the terms, they kind of are all mixed together and blurred, but there are white and black people from all types of countries. I think I moved the camera. I mean, I did move it, but I don't know if I put it back to the same spot. But anyway, I don't know where it cut off, man. My dad's side, he told me in December that his grandpa, one of his grandpas, was actually born in Spain. So we have a more immediate connection to Spain on that side, which I was surprised about. So yeah, I don't know if any of that all made sense together, but That's it. What else do I want to talk about? I'll talk about, if you guys don't know what I'm doing here. I'm currently in Morocco in my apartment. It's so fancy, I have an apartment. And I live in the middle of nowhere near Algeria. I don't really like to do my brows because I kind of just like them the way they are, but I'll fill them in a little sometimes. Barely. I'm a Peace Corps volunteer. And I serve in this town, and I work at the Women's Center and at the Cultural Center teaching Spanish, English, and I do workout classes. And I do life skills classes. So that's really fun and I really enjoy that. Okay, and there's some eyeshadow. I've been here I got here September 2017. A year and 6 months. Oh man, I've been here for a year and a half. Wow, crazy. But I lived in this town since December of 2017, if anyone's very curious to know. Yeah, I love my life here. It's so crazy, it's so far removed, and for me that was really good to be isolated, so it worked out in my favor. So the reason I started my YouTube channel is pretty simple. I want to practice speaking and articulating myself and expressing myself without fear. I grew up kind of self-conscious about every little thing that I was saying, and I don't like that feeling. I want to be well-spoken and confident at speaking. So I want to practice. That's the only way, to improve at that kind of thing. I don't have really the option to socialize very much here, especially in English. Communicating with people is pretty hard. I speak Moroccan Arabic here, still learning the language. I think that's a priority for me. I kind of just discovered that I love makeup. I first started watching YouTube videos, and actually I did my makeup a lot in high school, and had a joke with some of my friends that I did the best eyeshadow. So proud. And I did it a lot, but I didn't really realize, oh yeah, I know I was good at it, but it didn't really click, oh, I like this. And then I started watching YouTube videos of makeup tutorials and makeup YouTubers. I think was it in high school? No, it was at the end of college, I don't know, more recently. Now, I watch them all the time, and then all of a sudden not the other day, but recently, I was oh man, I love makeup. And then I was I want to do it more. I want to learn more about makeup and do it. I think it's a dope art form, and I think I could be really good at it. I want to explore makeup more once I'm home again, because I don't really have access to makeup here. But that's what I'm kind of doing to get ready with me, because I think makeup just makes me feel good. Not about myself. I feel good about myself all the time. But I like doing it, and so that's what makes me feel good. Oh my god, was that a bad choice? I think it might have been, but I'm going all in. Why do I get these little fuzzies all over my face? This always happens to me. It's so dusty in Morocco, dust just accumulates in my house. I don't even open the doors, I don't do anything. Dust accumulates. On my face, everywhere. This blush is very peach, and I love it. I think it will match my orange eyeshadow better. This is a really light highlighter, as in not light in color. It is light in color, but it's kind of sheer, so the color works on me, but it's not very blinding, as they say, on the tube. Okay, I'm done with my makeup. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe. No, I'm done with my makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed the topic of conversation. It was totally all over the place. I just want to talk about things and hopefully develop my ideas and articulate them well and learn about myself, think about new things, you know. It's all about just developing as a person, as a makeup artist. So yeah, I actually really have fun, even though I'm nervous and I keep making noise with my stuff. And I'm obviously still not an expert at this, but I'm trying to grow, and I think this is a good way to get out of my comfort zone, and I'm thankful for all the support. And let me know if you guys want me to talk about anything specific about Peace Corps, about me, about anything. Okay? Okay. Bye. Oh my, what if that was like my theme? Bye. Oh, that'd be so cute. So cute. I've been doing this my whole life. Okay, now I'm just gonna